Hey, welcome back to the Successful Lead Generating Coaches Show. My name is Arfan. I'm the co-founder of Grow, Automate, Scale, where we help coaches leverage the power of Facebook ads so they can grow, automate, and scale their business by attracting high-quality leads and turn those leads into customers. So today, I wanted to actually chat about something that's been coming up quite a bit. The past week, my wife, we were over in Arizona at the James Wedmore Business by Design conference. And we spent 3 days surrounded by 1,000 or so online business owners. And they spoke quite a bit on Facebook ads. I'd probably say about 30-40% of the conversations were about ads. They had a few breakout rooms that were specifically for ads, 2 particular breakout rooms. And then in addition to that, other breakout rooms, webinars, things like that, heavily focused on ad strategy for, growing their business. Because you make an evergreen webinar or a live webinar, you have to get enough leads, and hammering it organically is great. But in order to scale, you have to really be going into ads to really generate enough leads to see the scale happening, especially with the model that's being taught. So the thing that came up the most is why most coaches are giving up on Facebook ads. And that wasn't what was said verbatim there, but just something I've noticed and observed is that a lot of people are just giving up too soon. And I was just chatting with people and just reflecting back on audits I've done and people I spoke to, sales calls I've had, and really there's a few things that really stood out to me as far as why coaches are just giving up on ads so soon. And you may respond to this, you may reflect with this. This may be something that you've experienced yourself. So I'd love to know if that was you. Just, shoot me a message on Facebook, on Instagram at @AsWithArfan, or reply to my emails. Let me know if, some of these things are things you've experienced too as well. Because really, going into ads is like, it's 2 things. Like, it's easy and it's not easy. When I say it's easy, it's because if you know exactly what to do, it's like, oh, that's super easy. If you don't know what to do, you're like, okay, there's no way, like it's crazy. And that's why most people start giving up ads, because first thing is like it's just too confusing. You hop in there, you follow YouTube training, and you open up Facebook, and it's actually a little different than what you saw in the training, because Facebook can have up to like 10 different user interface. Now, just from my experience, I've been managing over a dozen accounts or so, and each of them have little different nuances that make them look different. Whether the interface is a little bit different. So the drop-down menu is square in one, and the drop-down menu is oval in another, or has rounded edges. The menu is active on another, and another, the menu is actually hidden. You have to actually mouse over for the menu to pop up. These are notable differences, especially if you're doing a tutorial. Like, wait a minute, this isn't looking exactly the same. Even the ad setup can look a little different. On one account, you click on ad setup, and they're trying to have you select catalog items. And another that's non-existent. There's no catalog at all. And it looks a little bit different. And that can cause a lot of confusion. Not only that, Facebook, really, they cater to everybody. If you're e-commerce, if you are a medical doctor, a local spa, a pizza shop, a restaurant, they cater to everybody. And because of that, if you're a coach, you're an online business owner, you're selling digital products, digital offers, is very specific. Your strategy may be very specific. So what's going to be used for someone that's a local business or someone that's selling apparel clothing is not necessarily going to be the exact same that you're going to use for your business, something that may not actually work the same. So Facebook have all these other things, which is the next reason why it's like, you may not be a technical person. So it's too confusing. You're not a technical person. And then Facebook has all these things that pop up. And they'll give you suggestions like this right here has been shown to help decrease costs by X percentage. Well, was that for a coach? Was that for an online business owner, right? It's just very generic and broad, and that may not apply to you. So you may be using these settings, and because you're not a technical person, and it's, they're making it just a little bit difficult just to get the ad set up. It's just like, hey, I don't even want to do this again. I'm done. This is just too confusing. And the other reason, is because it starts feeling like you're in college again, or you're in school again, and you're learning something that doesn't even feel good. You don't like it. It's not what you want to do. Like, you sign up as a coach. You're a coach. Your goal is to change lives, make a difference, impact people, help someone get a result. Whether you're a health coach, a life coach, whatever the case is, we're really about like making a difference and making an impact, and doing something that's super technical that feels like it's in college again. Like, it's a easy formula just to give up on it. Like, hey, this feels too complicated, and I'm spending money doing it. Like, I'm spending money. I'm paying Facebook, even if it's just $5-10. Like, nobody likes to lose $1. So, if you're putting it there and it's just like it's being done in a way that I'm not even sure or confident I'm going to get this back, it doesn't feel good, and we're going to give up. So those are a couple of things. It's too confusing. You're not a technical person. If you felt like that, I'd love to hear from you and kind of get more in your perspective. Or if you just feel like it's learning, it's just like being in college again, sitting in a course room, and I'm just like, your eyes are glazing over because this is just like, oh, I don't know what any of this is, right? And then the other thing is that, maybe it's not, you are a little techie. It's not so confusing. You came across, like, maybe you watched one of my tutorials and it's specific to coaches, and you're like, hey, this makes sense. I like this. This is my style of learning. And you are able to get the ads set up, and you run a lead magnet, and you're getting leads coming in, but you're not seeing them convert into clients. And really what's happening is that you're getting poor results, and really you don't want to do it again. Like, it's just like, hey, I spend X dollars into a lead magnet, or I spend I was doing a consult with a client, and they partnered up together and started a business, and they were able to put some ad spend behind a few webinars. So they went to a course, and they started setting up the ads. And they did this twice. And the third time they came to me, they're like, okay, we're going to do something a little different. Hopped in their account. They spent $1,500 so far on ads. And they would tell me, like, hey, we need to get this to work because we're in the hole pretty bad, in addition to all the courses they're learning about. And what ended up happening was that is the way they were setting up the ads, it was just giving poor results. It wasn't set up for proper lead generation. So this money kind of went to naught, right? So it's one of those things where they just didn't really want to do it again, but they were still like, okay, we need to get some help. So, I helped them to turn that around. They were able to set their ads up, start getting pure lead generation coming in, and we'll see what that turns into. But it's one of those things where with that mindset, they were able to say, you know what, like, we got to get help. We're putting money into this. We don't want to keep losing anymore. Sometimes that's not the case. Like, you may put some money in, you lose it, and you're like, I don't even want to talk about this anymore. I'm done. So we just give up, right? And it's something that once you give ads the attention it needs and time it needs, it really changes the game. Because right now, organic is beautiful. You really want to combine the two, right? It's not just one or the other. Like, you're not going to get an organic guy and a paid ads girl, or organic, or whatever the case is, or regardless of that, right? So it's not all in on one or the other, but it's all in on marketing, and marketing combines both. Marketing itself is the big branch, and you have the little trails of the branch of it that's going to be organic, which is going to be what are you doing organically, and then paid, what are you doing paid. You can do TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, like there's so much on there. So when you really combine the two is where you start seeing a lot of growth and a lot of increase in the email list size, increase in revenue. One of the cool things is that sometimes you can fail on a few campaigns, and then you hit one and it more than makes up. And that was the case. I've shared my story before where, Jojo and I, when we first started a business, we set a goal to retire in 6 months. And we were, we built the course, mostly her. She built the course. It was mostly her, creating the course and things like that. But on the back end, I was learning about ads, and we ran the first launch. And when we did the first launch, it was a 5-day challenge, and we ran ads, got leads. But during that challenge, no one purchased at all. And luckily, she's a very savvy businesswoman, and she got feedback from a few of her friends in the business world, and got really good feedback on how can adjust that challenge. Because we had people, we got leads, it was looking really good, but then the sales fell short. So we realized that, hey, the leak, the opportunity was in the sales process. So we repeated the exact same thing again. It was 3 weeks later. Now, this first time we did this, I was still working my job. And I took a week off of vacation for work. We did a lot into it, and it felt a little discouraging. But we picked back up, did it again 3 weeks later, and during that launch was the one that allowed me to retire from my corporate job. Right, that she like generated enough income that was like, okay, you can put your 2 weeks in, and I gave my notice in, and I left because that. So it's one of those things where it may not happen on the second time, the third time, right? But just as long as you're strategic about it and you're combining the two, right? Because as long as you're working your leads, like you're gonna get sales. Like that's one thing, cool thing about having email lists. And I've generated, some of you may have been on my email list and have been following me for a while and just never needed to get anything or never needed to have a service, and that's totally cool. Like my free content is maybe enough. It just gives you enough information that you can, you're running your ads on your own, or when you are ready to run ads, you have enough information to pull the trigger and go. Or you may have signed up for my $5 ebook where I walk you through the entire blueprint for designing and using ads for a 6-figure launch, and you're good to go. You're rocking it. You're using that. And I've had people on my list that have, been for 2 years and then have just, only needed my Facebook ads rescue. When I launched that program, I saw some new faces that have been on my list for a while that I'd never spoken to, book that session. It's been awesome because it shows that, and things were really good in a lot of those cases. Just needed like little tweaks, just kind of needed that reassurance, and then some other, just needed to get some tips on some other strategies they can use. So it wasn't everyone that booked that. Not everyone needed just like, hey, my ads aren't working, I need to get it fixed. It was a combination of, and I appreciate, if you're listening to this and you were one of those, thank you so much for hopping. I enjoyed my time. And that's still available too as well. If you ever need to do an ads rescue session, shoot me a message and I'll send you that link so you can schedule that. But you're going to be able to see sales happening ongoing. And you may have heard us say before, like someone spent X amount of time creating all these reels and posts and all this stuff, and they've generated 0 sales, but they got a whole bunch of likes and things like that. And then they spent a half hour writing an email and generated, multiple 4 figures or more in sales. And the cool thing with ads is that the way I teach ads is that you're using this to build your email list. All roads lead to growing the email list because that's going to be your number one asset that's going to give you long-term success. And that's really what it really comes down to for me. And I think that most coaches just really give up because Facebook doesn't really do a great job to make the platform easy to access. It's very easy to boost a post, but boosting a post gives you just likes and comments. It doesn't really give you tangible results that you can take to the bank, right? It doesn't give you lead generation that you can now have leads that you can continuously nurture and communicate with and talk to and work for weeks and months and years to come. So it's very confusing. If you're not a technical person, then it's something that is just like, ugh. I do recommend whichever one of these categories you may fall into, or if you've given up or you're thinking about just giving up, know that you're able to get support, right? And it's something that if you give it the time and attention it needs, and cautiously, of course, when I just dump funds into Facebook ads, not knowing what's going to happen, like you'll be able to make this work for you. I've never came across any business that, hasn't had ads work for them to some level, whether they're able to get an initial return on investment immediately the same day or the same week, or it takes them 9 to 12 months to get a return on investment. So one of my clients right now, on average, it takes 3 to 6 months before we get the return back from a lead. So a lot of the income that's pouring into ads, we're not going to see a return on that until 3 to 6 months later. But we've been doing this long enough. We've been tracking it long enough. We've been setting up the funnels long enough to know that once that time rolls around, boom, it just starts opening. So now it's an ongoing thing where income's coming in monthly, and we're able to cover the ad cost a lot more easily. And we've been consistently able to scale the ads budget. So where we started off at $1,500 a month with ad spend, now we're at $10K a month in ad spend. We've been able to grow to that over the years, and have been able to grow the business continuously to high multiple 6 figures. So give it the attention you need. And of course, I recommend don't do it alone. Take the time to search and see if you could find a coach or a strategist that can really work with you even if they're the ones doing the ads, creating it and setting it up, things like that, but they're still working with you so you can have really good insights as far as like what's happening. I say this because I've come across those who work with agencies, and really they only get like this bleak monthly report. They spent this, got this much leads, and that's it. And they have no idea like what's even happening. And when I work with clients, we're looking at what's happening with the funnel, like what are these leads doing? Like we spend this much, we got this much leads, and what's the next step? When are we going to be going to our launch? Like we're always working towards something that's going to give us back our return on ad spend. So we'll do lead generation leading up to a live launch, or a lead generation to something automated that's going to give us a return back, right? Because if you're putting money into it, it's a business. We got to make it back. Otherwise, we're going to be in the red. If we're in the red too long, business closed down. We don't want that. We want to be able to help people. So, if you do need support, and if you want to have a conversation, see if we're a good fit to work together, you can always schedule a call with me, a free 30-minute chat, and we can see what you got going on. I can see if me and my team can help you, and either we do it for you or we work alongside, and you want to learn it on your own, but you want to get the guidance to do it correctly. So just go to orphanofsatan.com/start and schedule that free 30-minute call with me. Just book that call, and we'll see if we can help you out. But if you are, if you've given up, and you listen to this because you're potentially like, you know what, I need to get back into it because I see my peers, I see new folks coming into the programs I'm a part of, and they're using it, they're getting success, and it just didn't work for me, whether it was years ago or just recently. But that you're open, and that this is an opportunity to be able to really take your business to the next level, to help you grow, to help you scale, to help you have a bigger impact, and to help you just be able to build a business that you really dream of. Let's schedule that call. Let's chat, and let's see if we can make it happen. Again, thank you so much for tuning in today. If you haven't already, leave this a review on Apple. Subscribe to the channel on YouTube if you're listening to this on YouTube, and always drop a comment or shoot me a reply. I'd love to hear what's actually going on with you. If you were someone who've given up on ads, or at the point of like, I'm ready to give up, but to pause these ads and never look at it again, definitely love to kind of hear what your experience is like, so I can just get a better understanding for myself. And so hit reply on the email. Other than that, if I do see your name pop up on the call, I look forward to chatting with you. And thank you again for tuning in. I will catch you all next time on the Successful Lead Generating Coaches Show. Bye.